Okay, friends. So I'm going to read the story to you. And again, you're going to make a movie or a mental image in your story about what's happening. And then we're going to talk about the story at the end. Okay? It's called The Big Splash. Blake and Jess were at the pond. Blake did not want to get wet. He had on new pants and a good top, and he did not plan to swim. Jess went into the water and was splashing Blake. That was a problem. Blake was mad at Jess and said, "Stop splashing." Jess did not stop, but then Jess was jumping into the pond. Her big jumps made big splashes. Jess insisted that the splash was not big. Blake grunted and said, "I advise you to stop splashing." Jess did not stop, but then Jess got out of the water. She fell off a log and landed in the pond. Guess what? It made a big splash. Blake's new pants and good top were all wet. Jess had not wanted to splash him that time, but she did. So think about, who are the characters in that story? Who are the characters? Think about that. What was the setting of the story? Where did that story take place? Okay, where did it happen? What did it look like in your head, the movie that you made? And what happened? What was the beginning, the middle, and the end? Right? Think about what the beginning and the middle and the end was. Okay? And then, friends, I'm going to send you the story, okay? And I want you to look through that story, okay, or listen to me read it again. And I want you to think of some of the word work we've done this week with base words and suffixes. And I think there probably might be some silent E's in there too, okay? Thinking about the big splash, okay? And always when you're reading some kind of story or we're doing our phonics practice, right, you can always look to find things that you could mark up. Even if you don't want to mark them, if you notice them, oh, I see digraphs, I see blends, I see some glued sounds, trick words, okay? So in that story, the big splash, think about one of those phrases, stop splashing. Think about that word splashing. What would be the base word? Splash. What was the suffix that was added? Yep, you got it. It was the ing brothers, right? So stop splashing, right? It changes that word splash because somebody was splashing right then and there, right? And then think about jumping. Think of who is jumping. That word jumping. What is the base word there? Yep, jump. And what was the suffix added? You got it, the ing brothers. So now it changes it from jump to jumping, which means something was happening. Someone was jumping right then and there, right? Ooh, landed. When you look at that again, landed. What is that base word? Land. What's the suffix? Yep, you got it. It's that ed we've talked about, landed, which means it happened. Just like in the word happened, right? Someone landed in the pond. What was some other ones in there? Oh, jumps. Her big jumps. Again, jump is that base word. When we added the S to it, it made it into more than one jump, right? Lots of jumps. Okay, so think about what that story would take place. Think about the characters, okay? Listen to me read it again if you want to go back and rewind this and listen to me read it again. Then maybe draw a picture of what that story looked like to you. Draw a picture of the story, okay? Think about some of the words that you found that had some suffixes in them and put them on Seesaw for me and Mrs. Wickham to see. or Mrs. Humphrey if you're following along from Mrs. Humphrey's class. Would love to see what that picture would look like, because I bet there's probably not a whole lot of that would be too different from each other, right? But maybe there could be some differences or similarities between some of you if you drew a picture of that story. Okay, so good work this week. We worked a lot on suffixes. We reviewed that superhero magic E. So look at that story again. Do some word work with it. Find some suffixes. Underline the base words. See if you can find the 2 trick words we talked about this week. Do you remember what they were? Called and water. And then remember, I asked you to try and write some sentences using both those trick words. Okay. Alrighty, guys. If you have any questions or got a little confused by those lessons, just please let me know, or let Mrs. Wickham know, and I can do some clarifying for you if you'd like. All right? All right. Hope you've had a good week. Stay safe and healthy. I'll see you next time.